خلاص خليه جد معناته. اللي هورون لا سمعوا لي أصابع يا زلمة. جبت الراحة. بدق لك 6 الوزن يا زلمة. هلا
داني بتوقف حلب بده يصب الكاميرا عليك ها؟
بس اللي جاهز لهذا؟ اضرب. لا اضرب.
طلع على الكاميرا.
سبحان الله.
على الكاميرا.
بس اللي جاهز لهذا؟ اضرب. لا اضرب.
طلع على الكاميرا.
سبحان الله.
على الكاميرا. أشوف الكاميرا معي بالمثال إنه ما يزعط عليه.
لا يا أخي حكى هذا على قسم الحديد. إيه لا.
قل له في ابني نازله عم ينتشل شوف حياتنا عم بيقولوا انهم تحصل.
Yes, I can hear you, great. What's been happening, right? They've been bombarding an area in Homs called Khadi for like 3 hours.
You say there could be as many as 200 dead just in the last hour or two?
We have 200 dead in the last 3 hours. In the first half an hour we've got 40 dead in the first half an hour. And we got the video up on YouTube.
We have 200 dead in the last 3 hours. In the first half an hour we've got 40 dead in the first half an hour. And we got the video up on YouTube.
How random is this mortar fire? I mean, are you saying that they're just indiscriminately firing mortars into neighborhoods?
In the cities, in the narrow civilian streets, on rooftops. I just went an hour ago. I just went on a rooftop to get civilians. The street is right next to me. There's like 400 meters right over there. I went and picked up 4 civilians who were burning in the house.
In the cities, in the narrow civilian streets, on rooftops. I just went an hour ago. I just went on a rooftop to get civilians. The street is right next to me. Like 400 meters right over there. I went and picked up 4 civilians who were burning in the house. A mortar bomb came right on the rooftop of a civilian house.
Tell us what the situation is where you are. What have you been hearing and seeing, Danny?
Hi. The situation is really, really bad. They've been bombing for more than 4 or 5 hours now. We have more than 200 people dead, and no one's even doing anything about it. There's still human beings under the destruction of buildings. The situation is really, really bad. They've been bombing for more than 4 or 5 hours now. We have more than 200 people dead, and no one's even doing anything about it. There's still human beings under the destruction of buildings. The Red Crescent ambulance, they shot them more than once now for trying to help the people who need medication, the people who need movement to hospitals, to the field hospitals. There's still people in the middle of the road that we can't move them out the road. If we're going to try and move the bodies, you get shot. You get shot for trying to move the body. We can't get any medication inside the areas that need help. They're shooting at ambulance.
We'll take help from anyone. Israel, we don't care. On Israel, we don't care.
Denny, Syrian state television, as you know, is now airing excerpts of this video of you that was shot. I'm not sure how they got this video. Do you know how they got it? Did they intercept it?
While I was trying to talk to CNN, I was online for like 20 minutes, so it's live broadcast. I don't know how they got it. This is all private. See, we should have. This has all been deleted. We have to delete all this stuff.
Specifics. They say The Truth of Danny the Zionist. That's the title of this, and it's obviously heavily edited.
So it's live broadcast.
They say at one point, and I'm going to show this, they say that you were saying, get the target ready to shoot. No, shoot it like I'm telling you. Let's take a look. And then the banner in Arabic says, notice the sound of an explosion after he gave the order. They're making it seem like you were fabricating the sound of explosion.
Yes. Okay, if you exactly watch it was about 6 minutes I was talking to actually on CNN that time. There was no shooting going on at the time. So if I was telling them to shoot so I can make it look like there's a war going on, they would be shooting on the back sound while I was talking to you.
Sound of the bang there was the sound of you guys faking a shot.
That was sounded a long way ago. Even at the time, the area I was sitting in wasn't even being hit. They were hitting another area, as I told you, it was called Khaldi. It's about 15 kilometers away from where I am.
Like 400 meters right over there. I went and picked up 4 civilians who were burning in the house.
We're hitting another area, as I told you, it was called Khaldi. It's about 15 kilometers away from where I am.
The frustrating things as a reporter is that, and for this we blame the Syrian regime, is we've repeatedly tried to go to homes, to get into Syria, to get visas, to do it the proper way, and they were repeatedly refusing. So, unlike in many conflicts, we have ended up relying on people like you, on people who have uploaded these videos, and though we can't independently verify them, the reason we are relying on these videos is because of the Syrian regime's refusal to allow outside observers in.
I started shooting. I actually didn't feel the bullet in the first. the beginning.
Did you see the gun?
Yeah.
Was it a handgun or a rifle or what?
It was a handgun.
You felt the bullet, presumably?
After about 2 seconds.
Where did he shoot you?
It came right in my waist and it came out my back.
طلقتين في ظهره مرت بسلام دون نشوف إصابة داني الدم. لو توقف داني شوي لأن داني أصيب كما تشاهدون هون في طلقتين. طلقة دخلت هون رصاصة ورصاصة ثانية كما تشاهدون.
It came right in my waist and it came out my back.
بطلقتين بها لو تذكر طلع الفرد وسفاك. طيب عند انت ما شفت وجهه ما شفت ملامحه ما شفت احد بس انه حسيت انه هو يعني اما شبيح او امن هيك ولا في عندك؟ طيب
لا مش شبيح امن.
Get out of the country.
Really easy actually. I just went to the airport and left.
Pat you down, frisk you or anything? Because you presumably were swathed in bandages, weren't you? Oh, they did?
I told them I had an operation, a kidney operation. They just believed it and let me in. اي والله. وكنت متوقع يمسكوني بالمطار. حتى لما فتشني عشان الجرح لسه كان اكبر من هيك بكثير. كان الضمادات اكبر بكثير طبعا اول تو. اتوقع انه يوقفني يفتشني يقول لي ليش هيك شو هذا؟
ما فتشك لانك بريطاني.
طبعا كنت ناوي اقول له انه هاي عمليه كليه كل عمليه عملتها والشغله.
طيب.
بصدقني.
إيه عندما سألك قال لك إنه إيش هذا الجرح ما شو قلت له؟
قلت له عملية قال لي طب تفضل خلاص ما حد كان يشهدنا.
Now again, as we said, we're not sure what caused this. It could possibly, and we emphasize possibly, have been a ground impact of a Scud. It could have been a ground impact of a Patriot, or it could have been the result of debris falling between the two of them. We just don't know right now, but we do know that at least 2 Scud missiles incoming were fired at Riyadh, and according to the Saudi military, they were both shot down. Charles Jaco, CNN, reporting live from Saudi Arabia. Was almost exactly 2 hours ago when the sirens went off here in Saudi Arabia. Where we are in eastern Saudi Arabia, there was no problem. However, there was an intercept elsewhere near the capital city, Riyadh. We've got some videotape of that you can take a look at right now. Hi, Atlanta. We're about to have a short course in missile identification. This is a Scud. You can tell it by its distinctive label. Now, when the missile is launched, the first thing you look for is the plume sticking out behind it. Now, when you detect this, you can tell it's been launched. Thank you.
Graffiti on it? Yeah, show me graffiti.
Larry King show or bust. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at
Let me say hi.
the top 10 things about Saudi Arabia. Maybe we could shorten the list to 5. Oh God, Geopolitics by Dan Quayle. Je suis un journaliste américain. Wolf. Wolf. Oh, I love this country so much.
You guys just don't have a clue.
Well, Cheryl, it was almost exactly 2 hours ago when the sirens went off here in Saudi Arabia. Where we are in eastern Saudi Arabia, there was no problem. Now, let me just size my mask and fit it for a second, just like I always do. Stand by. All clear. They're... Oh, shh. What are they saying? Are they saying all clear?
Yes, ma'am. I can't hear.
Were they saying all clear down there just now?
Okay.
All clear. All clear. Está bien was a false alarm. Got that, Atlanta? Standing down now. I'm gonna go get my hamburger and my coffee.
Good. We just got the all clear.
All clear. Every time I order something, this happens. All clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I'm starting to get real bothered by all this. Boy, did I almost look stupid. Charles Jaco, CNN, reporting live from Saudi Arabia. No, wait a minute. Whoa, hold it, homeboy. I'm the talent here, you dig? explosions, what may have been an outgoing Patriot ground-to-air missile, some reported airbursts that may have been an intercept of an incoming Scud missile. We're really not sure. All we know is that the air raid sirens have gone off, and we've heard the outgoing roar of at least one Patriot missile. We've heard some sort of airburst. We can't tell where it was from where we are right now. We're waiting to see what's happening. As you can hear, the air raid sirens are still going off around us. People are, strangely enough, used to it. This is the first one of these attacks that's taken place early in the morning, but they're not showing you anything other than what we've got now. What did you see there? Is that a missile going out? No. We're not quite sure. We can't show you anything else than what we're seeing right now because of military regulations. We are not allowed to show you where the missiles might be going, what direction they might be flying in, where the airbursts might be taking place. There's obviously something going on. We heard another dull roar that shook things a little bit, and we're waiting to see what else is going on. Right now, that's about all we know, that something is happening. We're hearing pops and things shaking. But people are staying relatively calm around here. People evacuated in an orderly way to the shelters, but apparently there is something going on. The Patriot missiles, we're assuming they're Patriots, have gone outbound, and we've heard some explosions, and that's about it for right now. We'll get back to you when we know something else. Something is happening here, and we're scanning the skies for something else coming in, but right now we can't see much of anything, and frankly, this is what we can show you on television right now because of military restrictions from both the Saudis and the U.S.
CD, if you need to take cover, I notice that you've got your gas mask in your hands. If you need to put it on, please do so. If you need to take cover, please do so. If you are able to take a question, did you think that the possible threat would be over because it is now morning there? It's what, just after 6 o'clock in the morning?
The whole thing is everyone assumed that the threat would be over because it was early morning, but the thing about Saddam Hussein is that he has never done the expected, and right now we have, once again been surprised with the unexpected, an air raid, an apparent attack, although we can't say what the outgoing missiles hit, at approximately 20 after 7 in the morning Saudi Arabian time. All the other attacks have occurred from 10 o'clock at night till 4 in the morning. This is the first one to take place in eastern Saudi Arabia during the daylight hours. Now, that sound you hear behind me is the hotel.
Richard Thicker.
It's not the national.
By afternoon.
So people are looking up in the sky, scanning the skies to see what they can see. Do we see much of anything out there? Can we see much of anything? Okay, well, apparently there was some word of outgoing. Again, we cannot be specific about the direction. All right, we are now led to understand that there are also firings in another city in Saudi Arabia. CNN's Carl Rochelle is here with me. He just came up. Carl, I know we can't be very specific given these restrictions, but within those parameters, what did you see?
Well, what I saw, I didn't see anything hit. I looked almost straight above us. There is a vapor trail coming from my right to my left, and there's a cloud of something. It looks like it might have been an explosion, a cloud. I'd say my apologies for that. He's putting on a gas mask. There hasn't been any gas dropped here that we could tell.
You smell anything?
No. You may smell some of the fumes from a missile exhaust going off. The missiles use a rocket, a cordite, some sort of burning. We just heard a little thump just then. But
I have to apologize for that. I caught a whiff of something and felt momentarily dizzy. You're more experienced in military affairs than I am, but it might have been a little gas from the rocket exhaust. It wasn't anything. A lot of people have the respirators on just in case.
And again, you run to get down here. You, in my case, jumped out of bed, hearing the air raid warning go on. You run down 3 flights of stairs to get out of here. It's probably 100 yards. You hyperventilate a little bit, and you're nervous.
One thing we have to point out, just so people won't think
people are panicking. Most people are in their shelters. They've taken cover in their shelters. And in the time we've been in Saudi Arabia, I've not seen any evidence of panic in the streets, of people running around. People are not exactly taking this as a matter of course, but there's been no wholesale panic or anything. People are taking orderly precautions to deal with the stuff that's going on right now.
Okay, again, everything seems to be quiet. What I saw when I walked down, when I came running down, someone had said there is a hit upstairs over our heads, right straight up above us. And I looked up, and you could see the vapor trail, the contrail that's made by an aircraft or a rocket at high altitude. And there was a round puff of smoke that indicated something happened at that point. A lot of smoke. It could be a hit from one of the Patriots taking down a Scud missile inbound, or taking down an aircraft for that matter. But right now, where we are, we have absolutely seen nothing happen. A little boom one time, a small boom, could have been the sound traveling from high on. That's not actually confirming that anything happened. We don't know that there is a hit or anything. We're just telling you what we think and what we see at this point. The air raid sirens are running. The air raid is going on. Could very well be something has happened, but we're all safe right here. The reason I'm wearing a helmet is because it's easier and safer to put it on your head than it is to carry it around in your hand. If you're just trying to be prudent, CD is carrying his gas mask with him. I have mine strapped on at my side. You'll get some indication that there is gas, and one of the indications that there has been gas, there'll be an explosion pretty close to you. There has to be a way to deliver it. As far as we know, they have not yet delivered any in a rocket vehicle, in a Scud-type vehicle down to this area or anywhere else. Could happen, but there should be plenty of warning on that.
Yeah, Carl, and again, I have to apologize for the audience for yelling gas and putting the gas mask on, but what happened is Carl explained that sometimes when the propellant goes off, I believe that's what it would be, you get this whiff of something. I felt momentarily choked up and dizzy and thought, well, better safe than sorry. And it turned out that was not the case. But again, that could have just been the propellant from the outgoing missile. We have seen streaks outgoing. We heard a bang, but as Carl said, there's no hard evidence that anything was hit. We know what we saw, but we can't speculate about what was in it or what it was. And so far, there's been no evidence that the Iraqis have been able to use chemical warheads in any of these Scuds.
When you're concerned about chemicals, it's certainly well taken. I've been through at least 3 or 4 breathing fires.
Gentlemen?
Both the American military and the NATO military on this.
Gentlemen.
Carl, yes.
Excuse me for breaking in. Charles Jaco, Carl Rochelle.
We'll leave it there for the moment. We've got some news just coming in, actually, that the Salomon Brothers building in New York, right in the heart of Manhattan, has also collapsed. Welcome to BBC World News. I'm Philip Hayton. Heavy loss of life and catastrophic destruction. That's the scene on the streets of New York after the United States suffers what many are saying is the worst attack on the country since Pearl Harbor. A huge operation is underway to find survivors from the wreckage of both towers of the World Trade Center in New York. They collapsed after hijacked airliners with passengers on board were flown into them. The 47-story Salomon Brothers building, situated very close to the World Trade Center, has also just collapsed. Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. And it seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks. We'll probably find out more now about that from our correspondent, Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. There's almost a sense downtown in New York behind me, down by the World Trade Centers, of just an area completely closed off as the rescue workers try to do their job. But this isn't the first building that has suffered as a result. We know that part of the Marriott Hotel next to the World Trade Center also collapsed as a result of this huge amount of falling debris from 110 floors of the two twin towers of the World Trade Center. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline, a symbol of the financial prosperity of this city, but completely disappeared now, and New York is still unable to take on board what has happened to them today.
Presumably there were very few people in the Solomon building when it collapsed. I mean, there were, I suppose, fears of possible further collapses around the area.
That's what you would hope, because this whole downtown area behind me has been completely sealed off and evacuated, apart from the emergency workers. That was done by the mayor, Rudy Giuliani, much earlier today because of, of course, the dreadful collapse of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. But New York, very much a city still in chaos. The phones are not working properly, the subway lines are not working properly, and we know that down there near the World Trade Center there are 3 schools that are being turned into triage centers for emergency treatment. And I know that over in New York Harbor, where the famous Statue of Liberty is, there's a field hospital where 1,500 people are being treated, and we have heard, though it's unconfirmed as yet, that 100 New York City police officers have been taken there as well for treatment, but we do need to confirm those figures for the officers.
It's now, what, some 8 hours since the attacks. Is there any estimate yet available of the number of casualties in the World Trade Center?
I think we can only go at this point with the words expressed by the mayor of New York, Rudy Giuliani, that it's too frightening to think how many there could be. We know that it's about almost 300 people on the airliners that were used in these attacks. But you've got to remember, this was 9 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday morning. It's busy in downtown Manhattan in the financial district then. The World Trade Center itself has 50,000 workers. There are tens of thousands of tourists who go up there every day. The figures are almost too frightening to contemplate. You can understand why nobody yet wants to put a figure on them.
Listening to the mayor, Rudy Giuliani, a bit earlier, one of his messages was, you know, business as usual. You know, we won't let this get us down. But presumably, a lot of Manhattan people must have fled the city to Long Island to get away from possible further attacks.
Well, a lot of people were certainly trying to, but you remember that very early on all the bridges and tunnels to the city as well as the airports were closed. New York was sealed, essentially. Now, we do know that the Long Island Railroad has begun running again to get people out of the city if they can, and people who can't manage to get out and perhaps lived in that area, they're being offered accommodation in empty school buildings. But certainly I saw earlier on today huge crowds of people desperately trying to walk up upper Manhattan to get as far away as possible. I think nobody really knows how to go or where to go, and you have to remember even now I don't think people can sink in to people what's happened.
We haven't for the past hour or so heard much from the people of Manhattan. You're with them there. I mean, what are they saying tonight after this catastrophic attack?
As I said, many just cannot believe this has happened, and I've seen, you know, big burly men and women with you know, tears in their eyes today, shaking their heads, wondering what on earth is going on. There was a sense of panic. Our reports from the scene were of people just absolutely horrified, and I've already seen some photographs of that a man took down in the downtown area, and it looks like the aftermath of a huge atom bomb or something, just full of debris and of like a white carpeting of snow from all the dust and rubbish that had fallen. I don't think people can comprehend. They certainly have lost any feeling of safety. There's still a great pride in the city. People are determined to fight back, but a great sense of shock and loss. People keep looking at the sky, for example, where you can see the plume of smoke and say, when that's gone, it won't be there anymore. Our Twin Towers won't be there. Such a symbol of New York.
Are they talking yet about revenge and what the government should do to counter this threat, or are they numb still?
I think people are still numb, and I don't think people are talking about revenge in that way at all yet. I think people are still too traumatized. We don't know how many people have been killed. We can't even put a figure. I think when you talk to people on they daren't even say how many people might have been killed and injured. And I think that feeling, until the idea of the devastation, people don't really know what to say or what to think. I think they feel the bubble of their security as being in America has definitely been popped. This city and this country will not be the same. But they don't really know where to turn. That's the very sad thing. I think there's going to be a lot of very, very traumatized people that has hit them very, very hard.
Jane, I think many of us, when we heard the news, perhaps on the radio earlier today, were completely flabbergasted by it and just couldn't comprehend it. I mean, it almost sounded too far-fetched. I was wondering what it's felt like for you being in Manhattan. Well, unfortunately, I think we've lost the line with Jane Stanley.
Now, here we're going to show you a videotape of the collapse itself. Describe that. Now we go to videotape, the collapse of this building.
It's amazing.
Amazing, incredible, pick your word. For the third time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.